fucking...
Excuse me, sorry. You caught me. Not even... I don't know what I was doing. Alright? But I assume we're all in the same position here. We've all seen the news. We all know a state of play is coming, and we all know that it's going to include PSVR 2 news. So how can you not be massaging your nipples counterclockwise all day long since you heard that news? How? How's everyone doing? This is Petrifying Pumpkins. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the video. Well, I don't know how quick this is going to be or how long it's going to be. It depends on, I guess, how much you want to talk. You know, we got some news to talk about. Not a crazy amount of news. Let me just say hello to everyone first before we proceed. PPO will return in 4 minutes. And what's going on here with Daniel's new name? What's the Zero business? Who's this Zero guy? He's got a new identity. Why? Who's he running from? Who's he hiding from? Geison's getting moist, obviously. 2 moist droplet bunches today. Maybe should be more than that, Geison, considering. PPO says... Oh, he's referring to Zero's comment. Mr. Chopped over here. Smoking and getting nice and wet as well, which is what I like to see. Sup, y'all? Says Chopped. How you doing? Mr. Chopped. Fozzie. Bear. How you keeping? You were feeling up 2 titties. I was. It's what I was doing. And Decepticon was enjoying us. Like I've been enjoying Decepticoning. I've been enjoying Decepticon's art that he's been doing on the AI. Keep it coming. You know, I'm always interested in watching that shit. It's or not watching, but looking at it. It's very appealing. I've been doing just clockwise myself. I like to mix it up. You know, I've been doing anti-clockwise today. Tomorrow I'll do the clockwise. Balance it out. Balance is very important. Geisen is hyped, which is what I like to see. Pre-order drop after the state of play? Question mark. Good question. But before we get into that, but remind me of that question because I will forget. Let me pop up. I forgot to enter in the details, but hopefully it'll just pop up here. Yes, it does. Boom. Let me just go over the details really quick. It's brief. We won't be here all day. State of play next Thursday. So that's June the 2nd. Brings new game reveals, sneak peeks, and updates. A little bit of everything. So tune in at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So that is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then 11 p.m. my time. I probably won't be able to stream as I'll want to. But it's not looking likely right now for reasons I can't get into. For nearly 30 minutes of trailers and announcements. So, well, I guess I'll keep reading before we go into that. So, it's been more than 2 months since our last state of play. And what was the last one? Was that like Gran Turismo or something? Maybe it was some other game, I can't remember. Who's ready for a new one? Tune in live Tuesday, June 2nd for nearly 30 minutes of announcements and updates from the world of PlayStation. We'll have some exciting reveals from our third-party partners, plus a sneak peek at several games in development for PSVR 2. There it is. Whoa, the Decepticon music just kicked in there for me. PSVR 2. Can you believe your eyes? Can you believe what you're seeing? They're actually talking about us. They're actually going to show us. Watch over at Twitch or YouTube starting at blah blah blah. We've been over that already. See you next week. And then they go into some details about whatnot. Now what's throwing me for a loop here is that I'm almost sure they said first party as well, but now I'm only seeing third party. Did I hallucinate that? That's confusing. And why is this a video? I didn't realize that was a video. What is this? Oh, it's just a link for the actual feed. Not important. Forget the video. The video is just the sizzle. Let's talk the steak, shall we? Let me pop up these bad boy comments over here. PPO says 10 minutes of Horizon Call of the Mountain. I'm calling us. But even if that's the case, I'd be happy. That means they have 10 minutes to show off that game, which would kind of prove that it's not an experience simulator or whatever that those questicles are kind of trying to claim it is. You know what you were doing. It says, do I call you Zero now? Should I call you Zero? I don't know how to feel about this new name of yours, Daniel. Explain yourself, young man. Okay, so that has thrown me. Did I imagine that earlier on when it said first party as well? Did I read this wrong? What's happening here? Who wrote this, by the way? Brett Elston, Senior Manager, Content Communications. Exciting reveals from our third-party partners, plus a sneak peek at several games in development for PlayStation VR 2. I could have sworn that was... Let me check Twitter. I gotta check the twits. I think I retweeted it, so it should be on my own profile. Come on. This is straining my system, streaming and browsing 2 tabs open at the same time. Here. Exciting reviews from our third party plus a sneak... God damn it, I just imagined the first party. That was all in my head. Sorry about that. Anyway, blonde moment, am I right? Got that baby brain. You know how it is. So yeah, I guess that leaves, you know, predictions. What are we going to see? Games, obviously 30 minutes of games, but are we going to see the big reveal at the end with the CG render of the headset, and then they show the price and the release date? Pre-orders open, as Decepticon asked, you know, question mark. I get the feeling we're not going to see everything that we want. And I'm also kind of a little bit disappointed that it's not like a specific PSVR thing only, if you know what I mean. If you go into the wording, exciting reveals from our third-party partners, plus a sneak peek at several games in development for PSVR 2. So it's not just PSVR 2. PSVR 2 isn't getting the center stage, which is what I was hoping for, because I think if you want to properly showcase PSVR 2, you want to show off everything, you know. I don't mean all the games that they have in development, but obviously a lot of those too. But I'm talking about, what does this thing look like? Does it have a certain user interface? Is it going to have a special UI for VR? I don't think you show that kind of stuff in a, you know, random state of play when you're also showing off Final Fantasy 2069 or whatever the hell those weirdos are playing over there. The weeaboos, as they say in the streets. Whilst I swear I saw first party and third party. Mandela effect. See, PPO's from my timeline. My original timeline. How did we end up in this awful timeline when it's just third party? PPO. It's all going to be shit. Now see, Chopped has got the right attitude, but because it has PSVR 2 confirmed, I'm going to be hyped up regardless. Even if I want to keep my expectations in check, it's not going to happen. I'm going to be ridiculously hype. I don't know, is this really loud, the microphone? It's like going red on my thing here. Jason Ewan, how you doing? Nice to see you. And everyone's saying hello to Jason. Alright, that's good. But keep in mind, third party still has a lot of interest and, you know, potential on the table, including, well, this is where it'll get murky, because I'm thinking of First Contact, obviously. They're third party to Sony. However, when they enter that agreement, I think they become second party, and because Sony own the Firewall IP, if there is a Firewall sequel, I think that would be considered a first party title. So I don't know if that would fall under third party, although third party partners, I mean, it could. The wording is like loose enough that this could be where we see the next game from First Contact, if it is Firewall. Killer Sam. Unfortunately, it's just a sneak peek, but it's better than nothing. Well, that's it. I mean, that's a good point, I guess. The wording of sneak peek is kind of unusual. Like, it does imply that it will be very brief. But if they do show, like, I can't imagine it'll be as brief as, you know, Horizon Call of the Mountain, where it was just like 15 seconds of in-game rendered footage, but you don't even know. Was it a cutscene? Was it actual gameplay? Or what was happening in that? I hope it's not that brief. At least we know what's happening. What I'd like to see, what I'm expecting to see is, you know, here's a list of games that's already released that's going to get VR support. Your Gran Turismo 7s, your Resident Evil 8s, your Dreams, your whatever, you know. I wouldn't mind not seeing much of those if they just confirmed it, because those games are already out. You kind of know what you're going to get with them anyway. And then obviously later on, when you get closer to release, they show off the gameplay and whatnot, and then you get crazy excited. This would also be a good opportunity to show off your Half-Life Alyx if you have it, and surely you have it, and your Blade and Sorcery if you have that too, if you're smart, your Bone Labs, all the good PC shit that's been out for a while, that they've had opportunities by now to maybe get the dev kits in their hands, and even if they don't make it for launch, that they're coming, you know, a little bit of a promise. You know, get you excited for the future. Cancelled, it's all cancelled as this job. Imagine they came on stage, it's like, actually, you know what, Microsoft are right, VR is a failure, sorry, Petrifying Pumpkins, you're gonna have to find something new to do with your hobby, your pastime. Jason Yoon is chilling, enjoying some beers. Daniel is fine, okay, we'll stick with Daniel. I'm not sure I like the Zero, maybe it will grow on me, you know, but I like Daniel the best. Hope we get Pavlov PC version. It's confirmed. I think Pavlov is confirmed to come to PC or PSVR. Whether it's PC version or not, I have no idea. But yeah, I could see that being one of those titles that they do show off. Although, I mean, if we talk again about the major, like the previous video we did, where it was 20 plus major launch titles that they're coming. So I've been thinking about that since, and it got me thinking about Alvo and how, you know, when we were waiting for Alvo to come to PSVR, and even Firewall as well, although I'm not sure to what degree, but when it came to Firewall, or Alvo, sorry, they were keeping us updated in the Discord about the process of getting us up on the store and how they had to resubmit it and yada yada yada, and it took like months and months and months longer than they or anyone else anticipated. So for Jim Ryan to say that they've got 20 plus that will make it for launch, I'm thinking those games are going to be, they're not going to be, how do I put this where I'm not insulting anyone, they're not going to be Alvo level, they might be a step, see, I can't say it without insulting anyone, I don't think. I think these are going to be the important ones, the ones that, like, your Half-Life Alyx is basically the AAA budgets, you know. And that shouldn't be a knock on Alvo. Obviously, we know the history of that game and how it was saved from cancellation, development hell, etc. Didn't have the biggest budgets, and you know they kind of had to fight their way to get on the PlayStation Store, and they eventually did it, and that was a success story for them. But then these 20 plus games that he can be confidently saying these will be there for launch, then that means you have to have a pretty tight relationship with Sony, and that hopefully we won't see this whole back and forth where it gets delayed and has to go through the resubmission process over and over again. I probably didn't articulate that as nicely as I wanted to, but there's an idea there. I think hopefully I conveyed this well enough that you kind of know what the hell I'm rambling on about. Chopped, you could always have movie nights. Chopped, I'm going to put channel memberships on YouTube, so you'll have to pay €200 a month, and then I'll do exclusive movie nights just for members. A Quest streamer? No thank you. No thank you. So, I mean, half an hour. And it's not even fully PSVR 2, which is a bit of a shame, as I've already said. It's going to have to share with the likes of, I mean, are we going to see more Harry Potter or some shit like that? Maybe, you know, Modern Warfare, they're kind of ramping up marketing for that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see the reveal of Modern Warfare 2, the remake of Modern Warfare 2 at this, and then 15 minutes, 10 minutes of PSVR 2 stuff. Of course, that could be enough. If it is not coming out until 2023, do we really need to see big deep dives into these games if they're not going to be here for, like, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9 months? Can we wait? That's the question. Sweet haircut, says Chopped. Actually, I'm not very happy with this haircut. I mean, I appreciate the compliment, but he did something here where he left this part really long. Like, do you see this shit? Do you see this? That's ridiculous. I paid €20 for this fucking haircut, and I have to keep it, like, constantly swept over to the side, which I always do anyway, but it just looks awful. I don't know why. I didn't even notice this at the time. It didn't look bad at the time, but afterwards, bad. Germ is over here. He's saying, oh yeah. And that reminds me, when Germ popped up, he reminds me of The Last of Us 2 these days. How many hybrid games are we going to see? Are we going to see any hybrid games announced, other than maybe the very obvious ones like Gran Turismo 7, Resident Evil 8, which obviously we're not even guaranteed to see those, but fingers crossed. I think those are obvious based on the history of both those series. The side Superman curl is dope. What, this? I don't know what the side Superman curl is. But let me tell you, you can't pull us off unless you have Superman's body. Alright, and I do not have that. Daniel looking like a pop star with that earlobe. And I'm gonna be in one of them J-pop bands. Who's too sexy for this shirt? Not me. I don't know what you're talking about. Did you see the ludicrous length of hair that was going on there? If I had the PSVR 2, if I put that on my head with this hairstyle right now, it would just get tangled. It would get tangled up in the headset, and I'd be tearing it out. It'd be I need another haircut before I get this headset. Chopped, you already swept it to the side like a comb over. Anyway, hey, let's not derail this conversation here, alright? Let's try and keep focused on this. What are your predictions? What are we going to see? Are we going to see First Contact Entertainment at this? Whatever they're working on next. And by the way, that reminds me, I probably should have said this sooner, or even made a video like I had planned, and I might still do is, Damon Shabs, aka Shabatage, has left First Contact Entertainment. He's the co-founder. He was the game director, I believe, as well. Although don't quote me on that exactly, but I think he was game director. And he's left First Contact Entertainment. I don't know where he's going next. What does that mean? Does it mean anything? I haven't heard anything behind the scenes or anything. But it could mean a few things. Could mean that maybe he was working on something, and what he worked on is finished and done, and now he's ready to go on to better things. Because as a game director, you know, it's pretty like integral to the operation, you'd imagine. And another thing that's been going in my head for a while, pure speculation on my part, the way Sony have been acquiring studios. What if they've done a deal in the background that we don't even know about yet, and they've acquired, and Damon's got the cash from the deal. He's the co-founder, and he's like, alright, I got my bag of cash. It's a big burlap sack with the $sign on the front from Sony, and they've been acquired, and then we hear about it like in the next month or two or whatever. Again, complete speculation, so don't read into that too much, but you know, or it could just be that he wants to change the pace, not pace. Germ, any chances of PSVR 2 having PC support? I think a much better chance than PSVR 1. Namely, obviously, it's got the USB connector instead of the weird proprietary connector that this thing has. And also that Sony have like really warmed up to PC in the past year or two. And we've seen they've acquired Nixes, a software studio, like they've specifically got those guys just to put their games on PC. They port their stuff. There's leaks now of Returnal coming to PC, so that would add to God of War, Days Gone, Horizon. They've had a presentation recently where they, I think they said that they've made 80 million in the past year on PC, and in the next year, they're expecting that to go up to 300 million. So they're expecting to put a lot more out there on PC to boost those numbers up from rookie numbers to pro numbers, and I think it benefits everyone for PSVR 2 to go to PC. I don't see why they wouldn't. However, it is Sony, and Sony like to do silly things from time to time. It could be a case of it doesn't do it at first, and then later on they bring out like what are the drivers, software updates, or whatever that'll actually officially support us. That's how they roll. You know what wouldn't surprise me either is if the headset comes out and it's just the same menu we have now, like a flat thing, and then it's like, oh, we're working on a special VR user interface, but that won't be out till a year or two. This is how Sony are. Like, I remember going from PS3 to PS4, you lost the folders and the organization, and they eventually brought that out like a year or two later, maybe 3 years, and themes and shit like this. And then you go from PS4 to PS5, and they lose all that shit again, and they slowly start adding this stuff back in. So when it comes to like software, the software side of PlayStation, they have a lot of room for improvement, and I hope things are different with PSVR 2, but you know, I can see them slacking in that regard. Kill-a-Sam with the lol. F this convo, cancel. We've cancelled the convo. Decepticon. You'll have to shake that Alex guy down. He knows something. I saw Hess hint something. He knew something. Who's Alex? Half-Life Alex? By the way, Decepticon, I've noticed your profile picture. Oh, you've got like just a long, luscious locks now. I was thinking about making a comment, and I was like, nah. You know what? Are you going to be cutting that here and donating this again? Chopped saying Returnal VR would be dope. That got me thinking as well. Well, I've been thinking about this topic as well for a period of time. I can't remember how long. But basically, are there some games that don't work in VR? Because I remember seeing a mod for Elden Ring where they put that into first-person VR, and it's like, does that game really work in first-person? You kind of have to design it from the ground up to be first-person, you know? Now, of course, you could do Returnal where it's Astrobot style, third-person with the cameras up high, and then you kind of looking around like that. That could be cool. But I don't know how well Returnal works in first person, where you're constantly needing to be jumping and dashing at high speeds and all this stuff. Maybe some people can hack that, and then other people will be whinging and bitching because they don't have the advanced evolutionized stomachs that we have, you know. Germ says, I've heard their live service games are coming day one to PC. I don't think so. Oh, sorry. Live service, yeah. I've been hearing rumors about that. I don't know if there's any like legit things. I've heard stuff like well, obviously they haven't announced anything, but they've got like 5 live service things apparently in the works. I'm gonna have to wait for one of them to come out, and however that pans out, you can imagine the rest will probably copy. I'm seeing a lot of people thinking that, you know, Factions 2 or The Last of Us Online is going to be free to play, and then it comes to PS5 and PC simultaneously to, you know, pump those numbers up, which I wouldn't be against. The only reason I'd be against their games going to PC day one is, like for me anyway, I've always found that Sony first party stuff, the polish is just, you know, way better than any other third party stuff, and I feel like a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're only focusing on one SKU, is that what you say? I don't know. And that when you force multiple SKUs in there, multiple platforms that they have to worry about, then all of a sudden quality might take a little bit of a dip, you know, bugs might start slipping through the cracks, etc, etc. Whereas they're doing it the way they're doing it now, where it's like, you know, the likes of Horizon, Days Gone, whatever, they're coming out a year or so after, or maybe 2 years to PC, and then that version is polished. Although I know Horizon had issues and stuff like that, but hopefully that's like teeth and pains and they'll get good at PC as well. Germ sold his soul. I assume that means he got himself a top of the line PC, which I would really like to get myself as well one day, but not happening anytime soon. Chop says, damn, someone give this dude some money. My name being up there from over a month ago. What? Oh, you're seeing the thing scrolling by. Maybe that's not updating. Someone gave me money before, didn't they? Or was that a month ago? Maybe it's just I haven't fucking streamed in ages. That could be what it is, Chopped. And once again, thank you. Appreciate that. Decepticon cutting soon. Cutting them luscious locks. I think you should keep it. Maybe grow it longer to your ass and then give them from your ass to your shoulders and keep the rest, you know? Alex from Between Realities. Okay, I gotta look up Alex. Go sniffing. Pose as an attractive female and send him pictures of my breasts. And then I zoom out after he gives me the information and he sees the rest of me and he's disgusted. Anyway. Full on VR, that's what I would like about it. Oh, Returnal. Right. Not necessarily that it'd be full on VR, it's like it'd be full on in it, like it'd be like sensory overload almost. But yeah, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into. But I think Sony would be wary about that kind of thing, you know? And Housemarque, etc. Decepticon says newest PC viewer mods: Borderlands 3, Thief, and Deep Rock Galactic. What are you saying? What is this? You're listing out random things at me here. You're giving me lists. Is this stuff you think is coming to PSVR 2? Thief? Like a new Thief game, or the one that came out in like 2014 that was supposedly trash? Daniel, you the only one that's rich, Chopped. He's not rich. This guy, he's just stoned. He gets stoned. He forgets that he gives me money. That's what it is. and then he gets a bank statement, and here we go.
Reptilians or reptoids
Thank you very
are
much.
said to be races of intelligent creatures which come from extraterrestrial
Your name is
worlds
still going to
or
be up there now,
parallel
Chopped.
dimensions.
Chopped 517 has just donated 5 through Super Chat.
Thank you very much.
Incredibly moist, you sorry sap. Here's a few bucks, I see you're struggling. That haircut said it all, Gale, Speedy.
Speedy, damn. This guy, this voice that read out that message, he like really added a bit of venom to that, I felt. You know? You sorry sap. Here's a few bucks, I see you struggling. He reminded me of Louis Theroux, you know? Killer Sam says, I think The Last of Us will be VR too. That's another interesting topic, because why else are you going to make a remake of The Last of Us, which is from 2013, still very, very playable, unless you're going to add something significant to it. Now, this is obviously wishful thinking as well, because, you know, there's plenty of other reasons to just do it, namely the HBO television series. The fact as well that they originally wanted Sony Bend to make this, and they've got no VR experience. I feel like if they wanted this to be a VR hybrid game, which I'm hoping they do, and this is what I really want, maybe they would have went to a London studio or a Asobi or someone like that who have VR experience. Although it could be another case of maybe they want all their studios to have virtual reality departments or whatever. Excuse me. But yeah, The Last of Us in virtual reality would be insane. If we see a trailer for this now, and there's a lot of rumors that this game is actually coming out in 2022. But if we do see a trailer for this, and at any point it looks like it's first person, like you're seeing Joel through the eyes of someone, or Ellie through the eyes of someone, or you're Joel's daughter in the very beginning, and you're waking up from the couch watching television or whatever, I'd lose my shit, because as far as I'm concerned, I see first person in that game. That's practically virtual reality confirmed, even if they don't say it, you know, which they would, because, you know, the cat's out of the bag now. But yeah, can you imagine that game in first person? Because like like you miss loads of expressions and what like that, you know, whatnot. I can't talk right now. You miss loads of the small little details and expressions third person, because you're looking over here, you're looking over there, whereas you're looking at the character and you can actually pick up on those details. That'll be real swell, I think. Although, you know, I'd wonder how cutscenes would work and etc. There's a lot of questions to be answered there. Chopped again with the succulent $5 it is. Very much appreciated, Mr. Chopped, and your name remains there though, so you kind of didn't change anything really, but I still appreciate it. Decepticon says the old Thief game, I think, just more mods that may be official viewer games at some point. I gotta see if I can figure out your comment. Newest PC. Oh, you're talking about new PC viewer mods. This is stuff you've been playing. I see. I get you now. But I'd still be playing Resident Evil 2 and 3 if I was you. I mean, I don't know how you get out, like, if that's proper viewer support in those games. And Phasmophobia, how are you not playing just Phasmophobia constantly? I don't get it. Killer Sam says Uncharted 4 would be exhausting, but would be moist. Well, here's the thing as well. If you're porting any of these games over to viewer, like all these hybrid games, you don't want them to just be Resident Evil 7 style, although that would be still better than nothing, but you kind of would want them to incorporate the motion controls. You got 2 motion controls. Would they be able to bring in climbing and stuff like that? That would that would require a considerable amount of work, I think, more than just the remasters that we've seen from these kind of games. Will they do it? I mean, Uncharted is a big name now. Even the movie did well, the Uncharted movie. So that would be a name you'd want to push some headsets, I think. Maybe just an Uncharted sequel. What if the next Uncharted 5, what if that's virtual reality, you know? Resident Evil 2 and 3 finished. Shit was so good, viewer. Yeah, but that's like... I don't think I'd be able to stop, you know? Resident Evil 7 and Village... You're going to go back to 7? Oh yeah, they've added motion controls in the PC mods, haven't they? So yeah, you definitely play 7 again as well. And Resident Evil 8 is on sale. Is Resident Evil 8 one of the games we're going to see on Thursday? there's still DLC for that game that hasn't come out. You know, they said they were working on DLC, and it's been out for over a year now, and we haven't heard a peep. So what I can see happening is Resident Evil pops up on the screen, we all lose our minds, and then they just talk about some DLC where you're like getting stepped on by the tall vampire, and they don't say anything about virtual reality. So that's something you should probably keep in mind if you see Resident Evil 8, is that there's still potential to be disappointed. You know, just open File Explorer instead of the comments. And then I clicked this, my stupid laptop. I'm sure PSVR will get it. I think it will too, but it's just a matter of when. When is this coming out? That's the big question. Is it late 22 or is it early 23? I know PSVR Without Parole's leak and information seemed very concrete that it's 23, but then there's other leakers, the likes of Jeff Grubb. He's heard it's either late 22 or early 23, which kind of makes me think that maybe not everything is set in stone, and maybe they could attempt a 22, you know? Chopped is putting his money on 23, which is probably the safest thing to do. We should probably all assume it's 23, and not even early 23. Assume it's late 23, and then you can't be disappointed, you know, when they delay it again. Even though, you know, they can't delay it unless you announce it, but you know what I mean. Yeah? You dig? Killer Sam is hoping for 22. I'm hoping for 22 as well. If The Last of Us remake is also late 22, and if it had viewer support, like imagine if that was your launch title. That would definitely count as a major launch title. That'd be one of the 20, 100%. You'd wonder how many people like would just, who aren't VR fans, don't care about VR, but love The Last of Us, especially the first one. That's had so many, that's like 20 million sales, I think, for The Last of Us Part 1. I had so many fans, diehard fans, ones that even like hate the second one so much. I like the second one, but there's people out there who like the first one so much that they hate what they did in the second one, but they'd still go back to the first one again because it's, you know, the story that they like. Chopped second half of 23, chopped 2025, second half of 25. Killer Sam says mic drop moment, exactly. One more thing, and then boom, The Last of Us remake. You're creaming your pants over the visuals, fucking ray traced this coming out of their assholes, and then at the very end, viewer support, or you're seen from the perspective of one of the characters or whatever, and factions, standalone multiplayer, free to play, optional virtual reality support, also jizz inducing, moisture inducing. Daniel, I still think launch would be summer 23 at the earliest, but not what I want. Donnie coming out here with pessimistic guess, but that's a safe one as well, so that if it comes out earlier you'll be pleasantly surprised, you know. The TV show better be good. It's HBO, so you know the production value, like it's gonna look good, and it's been directed by the fellow who did Chernobyl. I don't know if you watched the Chernobyl show that was on HBO. That was really, really good. I liked that a lot. So if it had, like, even when I was watching that Chernobyl show, there was like shots where they were showing like dust floating in the air, and at the time I was like, oh, that kind of reminds me a lot of The Last of Us's spores that were going through the air. And then it actually turns out that that's fella he was probably inspired by that, seeing as he's such a fan of The Last of Us. So I think it will look good. Killer Sam, I need to go to the bathroom. Squeeze one out, Sam. Bring your phone. You know, bring us with you. I'll help you ease a few logs out. No problem. Don't you worry about us. Speaking of the TV shows, there's going to be, hold on so I can get rid of this. We want the background, obviously. They're going to be making a God of War TV show and a Horizon TV show. I think the Horizon one is going to be Netflix. God of War is Amazon, and then there's Twisted Metal, which is Peacock, I think. So no, there's a Gran Turismo as well, somehow. Don't ask me how or what that's going to be about, but there's a Gran Turismo series or film, I can't remember what, coming out, which is ridiculous. How do you do a Gran Turismo before you do even Firewall? You do Firewall before you do Gran Turismo. Firewall even has like if you just read the bios, there's a story there, you know. What's the story of Gran Turismo? I don't get it. I can't fathom how you make a television series out of that, or a movie, or whatever. It's just ridiculous. But I'm excited about God of War. I'd watch Horizon. Twisted Metal. I think they're going like a comedy route with Twisted Metal, which I think is absolutely the correct way to go with that. So I watched that too. Trent Stanley, the man himself. This man is the most unhinged commenter I have in all the channel. Of all the comments I get in my videos, it's like when I see a Trent Stanley, I'm like, what in God's name am I about to read? Let's see what he's got here. Oh, there he is. Out of the wicks like a slick ball of wax. That's not actually too bad. I don't understand this. What a wicks is. Is that like a cricket reference, Trent? Wicks, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, there's definitely been more unhinged comments. Donnie, it's the safest way for my smooth brain. Think so, my hope levels aren't too high. Well, if that turns out to be true, you should at least have time to get a PS5 by then. You have to. Killer Sam lolling over here. Fuzzybear says you can make Gran Turismo whatever you want. Can you though? I mean, who's the main character in Gran Turismo? Is it a car? Is it the Toyota? Is it a Supra? That's kind of like their mascot car. Even is it even? Maybe it isn't. I don't know. There's like that Pine Peaks one as well. What do you do? Is it Transformers? Are the cars talking to each other? Or is it like a the way Gran Turismo is, like they worship cars, so you can imagine it'll be very serious, and like the history of how the first car was made, or the first Formula One, or something I have no interest in at all. But then obviously car enthusiasts would love that shit. Zero, plural for wick, the part of a candle you light. So I understand what a wick is of a candle, but I haven't seen wicks. Slick as... let me read that again. Out of the wicks, like a slick ball of wax. I suppose wax and wicks does go together. Alright, Donnie. You've done some good research there, and I like that. And yes, because I still need time to find the right old lady for my PS5. You just gotta hang out in them nursing homes. And then when the attendants leave, you shake down them old people. You know, which one of you bought a PS5? And then you say, what's the address? You know. Oh, I keep forgetting I can do these. But what am I gonna do? Hold on a sec. This will be just for a bit of crack, you know. I enjoy these polls. Will PSVR 2 release days be revealed Thursday? There we go. What do you think? Ask my community. Chop says, how about a VR game from the perspective of a pee-hole? You could probably do that in Dreams. There was definitely a game I played in Dreams where you controlled a man, you pressed R1 to pee and R2 to poo. You couldn't look down and see, but it was sound effects. That's the plan. It's a good plan, Daniel. And Chopped, sorry I'm super big. Chopped, I just assume you're always super big, so you don't need to apologize or worry about it. You know, it's fine. Right now, we've got 4 votes saying absolutely no, there will not be release days for PSVR 2 this Thursday. I think you're probably right. I think I'd probably vote no as well. But a little part of me can see like the very last thing being that like rendered video of like multiple cinematic shots of the headset, and then boom, the price just appears beside it. No pre-order information, of course. That would be too handy. Or too convenient, I don't know. But yeah, is there anything else we want to talk about? How long have we been streaming? Damn, 40 minutes already. I thought this was going to be like a 10-minute video like yesterday. But listen, the boys turned up in force. Possibly girls as well. We don't know what Trent is. And we had some good chats and some good lols. Trent, I'm simply objective with humor. And a splash of passion pump. You X-Gen don't get it, but it's okay. Am I X-Gen? I thought I was a millennial. What does that mean? I'm objective with humor. Isn't humor subjective? What does that mean, Trent? Fuzzy Bear says, I think they're about 1.5 years late on the release. 1.5 years late? On the release of the headset itself? Or the release date reveal? So I'm not sure what you mean. You think it should have released with the PS5? Is that what you're saying? I don't think that would have been a good idea personally, because of how much revenue that would have required. Your average Joe would have been like, no, this is too much. This is too much. The PSVR games just wouldn't be like, imagine if there was a Firewall sequel or I don't know, some other multiplayer thing. It would just not have a player base. I don't think. Don't they have a Sony website for the PSVR 2? They have a section of their website dedicated to PSVR 2, yes. I'm not sure where you're going with that though. What's your what's your point, Mr. Chopped? I'm X-Gen. I don't like how you're both saying X-Gen. You're supposed to be Gen X, not X-Gen. Decepticon is Y-Gen, as in, you know, why? Why were these people born, you know, am I right? Just get a quest. Get Plusosphere, plays Phasmo. I don't know what the fuck a Plusosphere is, but absolutely not getting a quest at this stage. I can see the finish line is there, Decepticon, especially now with the state of play. We're going to see what the games look like, and when you see what these games look like, they probably will show gameplay for at least some of them. They're going to make your quest look like absolute dog shit. Like when they show the Blood and Truth, not Blood and Truth. Oh, it could be a Blood and Truth sequel there actually. When they show Blade and Sorcery, it won't be that shitty little quest version that you got. It will be the proper PC version, all the bells and whistles, you know, and you'll be like, you'll start crying. You know, you'll just start crying. Gen X, Donnie's another one. I think I appeal to Gen X. You're waiting another year and a half. I could be waiting 7 months. If it's January, that's 7 months, basically. Maybe 8 months, if I can count correct. No, we're nearly in June. That's 7 months. That's nothing. You know, 2023 sounds awful, but we're halfway through 22 already. If it's January, February, or March, it's not that bad. It's less than a year. It's like 10 months if it's March. You know? Gen X with dyslexia. Kill us, Sam. We're about to get moist. Exactly. We're in for a year. The rest of the year now is just going to get, like, the hype is going to build and build. The more they show, whatever they show now, we're going to be analysing that and speculating, and there might be interviews afterwards where they're like, okay, this is what we're doing with this game. Each studio might put up a little blog post on the PS blog, and then it'll go into more details, and someone might slip, and more leaks will happen throughout the year. PSVR Without Parole will have another insider say, okay, this is happening, this game will be launched, and etc, etc, and this, the hype is going to build and build and build. It's going to get crazy. This is the start of it. Fozzie Bear, I think it will sell out if it's as cool as they say, if they release together or not. But another thing as well is, if it's so hard for them to make PS5s, is it going to be like, it sounds like it's going to be hard for them to make the headsets as well, or like components shortages. There's like an Apple headset they're competing with for parts as well. I think the reason it's gone to 2023, if that happens, is because they want to make enough, and it's like they're probably struggling to make enough for this year. Nobody plays Quest, but then when you say that, when you list the benefits of the Quest, then they're talking about Quest. Like, oh, you can play it outside. Nobody can't play it outside if you want to play the proper games. What you're doing, you may be wireless, but you're still tethered to a PC. You know, you need the PC. You know, but yeah, you're basically PC VR. What you were set up. Dice Burn, yeah, Y-Gen baby. Yeah, baby, says Kill us, Sam. Kill us, Sam's in the groove. That's what I like to see. Trent Stanley says, means to meld. Why just be one thing? What's the balance and humor in that? I can't even comprehend you. What means to meld? Objective? Objective humor means to meld? Or are you talking about Wix again? I don't know. Can't comprehend you, Trent. It's like you're an alien to me and I can't understand your language. Killer Sam says, I will wait whatever it takes. Well, there you go. I mean, we're forced to. We've got no choice. But that's the right attitude to have. Killer Sam. It'll be worth it. Demio and Pop 1, everything else PC VR, which is, I mean, it says a lot about the Quest itself, that it needs a high-powered PC to be worth it at all, because, you know, no headset is worth just 2 games. And is Pop 1 even as popular as it used to be? No pun intended with the Pops. I don't really hear people talking about Pop 1 anymore. More people are talking about that golf game. Chap says, I thought Sony was to have a site for PSVR 2 for future pre-orders. They had like an email sign up. You could give them your address and then they'd send you an email when the pre-orders go live. F the hype, it's all a bag of dicks, it's all cancelled. But you keep coming back, Chopped. You keep coming back, and you gotta be thirsty now for a proper headset because your PSVR has been broken for a while. You need to come back to us, chap. Gen X, Leah. Is this a genitalia joke, Daniel? Because it's a bit of a reach, but you know, I appreciate what you're doing. If that's the case. Killer Sam says, now that some games are being presented to the public, will other developers be able to talk about their games? Other developers have been talking, kind of. I mean, Alvo confirmed this. Pavlov confirmed this. Dreams have confirmed they've got PSVR games in development. Like, they've kind of... excuse me. They've danced around the fact that Ghostbusters might come. I think they were asked and they were kind of cagey about it or whatever, according to Greg Miller. Kind of funny. And we know now that Fast Travel Games are working on PSVR 2 games. They announced it basically, and they said they're working on more than one. So they've got stuff coming in the pipeline. Obviously, they're not revealing them yet, but I don't know if that's Sony saying, no, you can't reveal your games, or they're hoping that Sony will showcase them for them, or, you know, they're probably working out marketing deals and whatnot. But I hope this is like opens the floodgates now, Killer Sam, and we see lots of cool shit. Infinity Lefty, welcome. Yeah, PSVR 2, but where is my Virtual Boy 2? It is in an alternate timeline where the nukes went off, you know, and wiped out all Nintendo fans. I remember I wanted the Virtual Boy. I think I saw it in like a catalog. I was like, wow, that looks cool. But I can't imagine how shit it would have actually been. You have to like sit it down, don't you? You have to put your head up to it. Ridiculous. Walkabout Golf is good too. That's what I keep hearing. That will probably be on PSVR. Would that be considered one of the major games? I don't think so. How many games are we going to see? They've said 20 plus major games, but that doesn't include minor games. I would imagine the golf game would be a minor game. I think PSVR 2 had somewhere in the region of 20 games in total. You'd imagine there has to be more. There's more viewer developers out there now. There's more interest. It's all about growth and whatnot, so there has to be 30, 40, you know? And plus all them PC viewer games that are like itching to get to PlayStation, but they couldn't because the hardware is holding it back. There has to be a lot. Chopped says, bye. Just broke my quest. It's shit, I fucking hate it. I assume you mean my, but I can't figure out how you did that typo. If it is my. Maybe you just meant I, and the B came out of nowhere somehow. I don't know. Either way, good job. Go to someone else's house who has a quest and break theirs as well, Chopped. Donny says, not genitalia. Oh, it's the dyslexia, Gen X people. I'm sorry. My mind goes to the gusser, Donny. Donny. But you're messing with my head now with all these names, Daniel. The backlog to catch up is 20 plus games alone. Then old PS games, they'll make VR. Then new, then Quest 3. Got no idea what the hell this guy's talking about now either. You're all speaking in riddles to me now. But that reminds me, PS1 classic games are coming and they're adding things. Could any of them get virtual reality support? A PS1 classic with virtual reality support. Dino Crisis. You know? Aunt D's here and he's laughing. How you doing, Aunt D? Good night to you. It is nearly 2 a.m. Trent Stanley with a 3,000 word essay. Alright, let's see what you got here, Trent. It's okay, Pump. I'm over your head, but I assure you that I'm not taking a piss. The piss. That's how I would say it in my language. That's just my sense of humor, Pump. Because accidentally I keep uppercutting you in the mug. But that's not my intentions at all. Well, listen, that was the most coherent thing I've seen you type. You know? And I'm not trying to disrespect your sense of humor. I'm just saying that, you know, sometimes I just don't know what I'm looking at, you know. New meaning Firewall 2. Oh yeah, we got the new. The new. But once the new comes, how are you ever going to pick up a quest again? You know? If Firewall 2 comes and it adds everything that we wanted from Firewall 1. the night vision, the torches and flashlights, proper, you know, lighting effects and all this kind of cool shit that we couldn't have. Like, how are you ever going to pick up a quest again? How? We getting a Lugaroo 2? I don't think so. I think our Lugaroo 2 is going to be Among Us VR. Which, by the way, did that get cancelled for PSVR 1 and like PSVR 2 only now? I think I got some whispers of that, but I'm kind of confused. Maybe one of you knows for sure. I heard about this weeks ago, so it should be clarified by now. Killer Sam says SOCOM VR had different games modes, which improves on Firewall. SOCOM VR had different games, but there was no SOCOM VR. I'm confused, Sam. Is there a SOCOM game out there that I haven't played on PSVR? I've seen a few people rumor, like, well, these people I don't rely on, like, I wouldn't rely on them for proper information. Twitter users, basically, but one of them seems to think that Guerrilla is working on a SOCOM game. They are working on a multiplayer game, and they did hire staff from Rainbow Six Siege, so that lines up with that. But they've got Killzone, they've got their own shooting FPS IP. I don't know, would they go with SOCOM as well? I'd love to see it. Okay, I think you mean that you just meant to say SOCOM and not SOCOM VR, which is fine. Different game mods is like obviously a big criticism the Firewall had. The big reason that they didn't do that is that they didn't want to break up the player base. Was that smart? Would it have really broken up the player base? I don't know. All I know now is that it's like still the only game that you can play right now. Nearly 4 years old, and you can kind of pretty reliably get a game, which is kind of crazy. Would that have changed if there was more modes? We'll probably never know. Maybe if PSVR 2 sells well, we'll see more modes. All up in the air. Returnal will probably get a viewer port, says Infinity Lefty. That's one I wouldn't be too sure on. Although there was the sequences in the game where you do go first person and you're like exploring the houses and stuff. So I could see them doing like a spin-off where like the whole game is that style, where it was kind of PT-ish, except not nearly as scary. But you know, that could definitely be done in viewer. But I don't know, would you keep the same gameplay in virtual reality unless they keep the third-person camera. Chopped out here, he's got a place. Hope you all have a good night. Fuck off, lasers. Mr. Chopped, thank you very much, and thank you for the generous donation, and I hope you have them sweet dreams, and I hope you don't have the smoke nightmares, or whatever happens to stoners. I don't know, I assume you have nightmares and can't sleep. Daniel says shabless Firewall. I don't know how to feel about it, yes. Yeah, it could be that there's like a noticeable difference in another Firewall if we get another one, because Shab left, or it could be that, well, I don't know. Anyway, Night Chopped from Geisen, and GG Chopped from Decepticon, and one from Fozzie as well. So yeah, we've had a good chat. I've enjoyed the chat. What's the poll at now? 10 votes. 40% of you think it will be shown. The release date on Thursday. 60% say no. It's a small sample base, but it's what we work with over here on the Petrifying Pumpkins channel. Is there anything else worth pointing out? I feel like this was a good chat. Got some good stuff out in the air. Mr. Jackpot didn't show up, so I didn't have to get too angry about the quest. You know, it's nice when we don't have the entire conversation hijacked by that soon-to-be outdated piece of trash. Infinity Lefty says people who smoke weed don't normally dream. It interferes with REM sleep. Damn. Isn't REM sleep very important? Infinity Lefty has just proven that marijuana is bad for you. I think REM sleep is very important. I think people who don't REM sleep end up being serial killers. That's what I heard. Heard it on the internet, so you gotta believe it, you know. We got 11 votes in now. The voting just went up. How do I... Where are we going? Oh, the yes is increasing. You're getting more optimistic with time, lads. Trent Stanley says, I totally understand and respect your observation, Pump, because I totally don't know what I'm looking at times either, aka the world. And these mongrels that prevented us from getting PSVR 2 sooner. Who are the mongrels? Who's doing this, Trent? Matt Marjanovic. Long time no see. Ew, that's what you say as well. I hope you're keeping well, Mr. Mass. Pleasure to have you in the chat. Mass in the chat. And I do enjoy saying your surname. Marjanovic. Rolls off the tongue nicely. And we're on 12 votes now. Are you playing games with me? Are you using your sock accounts now? 58% saying no. Anyway, lads, I think we may have exhausted the conversation right now. Next Thursday is the state of play. I don't think I'm going to be able to stream it, unfortunately. I will try. It is 11 p.m, so I would be home by 10:30, but then there's other shit to work out. Putting the spuds to bed and whatnot. Could be that I have to wait till the next day before we can talk about it. The mongrels know who they are, says Daniel. You almost got it right. God damn it. Is it Marjanovic and not Marjanovic? Is that it? I don't say the H. Trent, Jesus, do you really have to ask that question? Who's the mongrels? Who's the Is it Zuck? Is the Zuckerberg out there slowing down production of the PSVR 2? Killer Sam says PS5 and PSVR 2 should only be sold in stores to avoid scalpers. What they should do is make bundles so that scalpers will be less inclined to like buy like a big expensive bundle like that. It'd be harder to move, I think. The mongrel in the mirror, damn. That's the next title for Decepticon's album. The mongrel in the mirror. That's something you can type into the AI as well. A mongrel looking into a mirror. But make sure it's like a real messed up looking mongrel, you know. Anyway, lads, I think I'm going to end the stream. It's been real. That is a good AI. I want access to that AI. I still haven't got any access in. It's kind of annoying. I wonder is it like American only? They don't give a shit about the Irish. And Daniel's having a giggle at Decepticon's expense. Or with them. I don't know. Anyway, it's been a pleasure. Mind yourselves. Take care. Etc. Etc. Thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel, which you're probably not, I think you're all subscribers already, consider hitting the subscribe, liking the video, sharing it if there's anywhere you'd like to share it that people would care enough to watch. And I'll see you in the next one. Okay? It's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.
What the fuck is this?